How was Oprah?
In what way?
In that journey of yours, how much did you get to learn from her?
Oh, a lifetime, a lifetime. You know, the stories are just so profound on every level, and you know, everybody will always ask me like, "What's your favorite Oprah story?" And I'm just like, "Gosh, you know, it's sort of like asking you what your favorite memory of your childhood is. You're overwhelmed with everything." But I think the lesson more than anything else that I try to convey over that period of time that was the most transformational for me is something you heard me talk a lot about at the WSL, I'm sure, is intentionality. You know, she would constantly always come back to like asking the question, like, what is the intention here? You know, what is our intention for that segment, that show, that whatever it would be? So much so that, you know, I took it to the extreme, especially at the WSL, because I felt like at the time when we first started there, we were a little unfocused.
Yeah.
And I would, as you know, because you were in those meetings, I would always start the meeting, be like, okay, just so we're clear, the intention of this meeting is for us to go through the budget or whatever it would be.
Right.
Because all of us would always have these conversations and meetings that would call a meeting about the light switches, and somehow, some way, we'd wind up talking about gas prices or tariffs or whatever the hell. And I'd be like, no, this is about point A, and we'll go to point B. So, you know, she's extraordinarily intentional with everything she does.
Yeah.
You know, and she's true to herself. I mean, there's no more authentic person that I've ever met than her.
Yeah. It's got to be amazing.
Yeah.
Do you feel like all those experiences have prepared you to be in this position that you are now?
No question. Yeah. I mean, you know, one of the things that she famously says all the time, and I go back to this with all of the trauma that I've been coping with over my life, with my upbringing, through what's been happening in my personal life, even, you know, tragedy of my girlfriend losing her house in the Palisades. I always come back to this, is that she would say, what happens to you happens for you.
Yeah.
And if you sort of approach things like it with that lens, it'll change how you react in the moment. And I think I've got the benefit of now being 54, not 34. So that 20 years changes a lot.
Yeah.
You know, my kids are grown and gone, your kids. So I'm in a different place, but I would say all those experiences and have put me into a position that I can objectively and generally speaking, less emotionally, I still have my moments, I'm sure, be able to approach things like that. And then you realize when you get thrown a curveball, you're like, is it really a curveball or is it a wiffle ball?
Yeah.
You know? So, but yeah, I think it's just it's a good thing. It's a great lesson from her of, you know, what happens to you, because we always be like, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? It's always bad.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of like, if you can just take that on, it's like, I was late for my thing, and then I had this car, my car was this,
It's a snowball.
It's a snowball, and we always we feel it, right? And it's just like, well, I didn't do this. If you can just pause just for a second, and she'd always say, just remember, what's happening to you is happening for you.
Yeah.
And your job is to try to figure out the why.
Right.
If you can unplug from the chaos of what's happening to you and plug into the energy of what is actually happening to you for the why, a couple things will happen. One, you'll be completely out of that state of frenetic, because now you're going to be like thinking about it. And number two, if there's a lesson in there and you get the lesson, it won't happen to you again.